Good afternoon, YouTube. This is LA Prepper. Quick shout out to Prepper Nurse. When FEMA comes around, are you getting on the bus? Wasn't that a good question? So I'm going to talk about that, but I'm going to talk about it in my typical LA Prepper way. We're gonna add a little bit of drama to this. So we're gonna split this into a few different videos. Okay. First video is going to be top 10 reasons to just say no to the FEMA bus. All right, ready? Number one, you lose control of your future. Even if everything goes fine, you still, you really don't, you have no idea what's going to happen, where they're going to go, how long you're going to stay, what the conditions are going to be. There's absolutely no guarantee. There's so many factors that come into play. So the obvious one, you lose complete control of your future once you get on that bus. Number two, you might be separated from your family. There was a military document that was declassified a number of years ago that sort of talked about ways to deal with relocated persons. And it is quite possible that you will be separated from your family for a variety of reasons. Maybe just health reasons, Maybe grandpa's got a cough and the rest of you are fine and they want to quarantine grandpa and you're not having it, and your husband resists a little bit, he gets a little difficult, and he gets into the difficult group, and then before you know it, your family's in 3 different parts of the camp. So that is the second reason you might want to say no. Number 3, you might lose all your preps. Maybe they're not going to go bad, but maybe you get marauded. There's a lot of reasons that you could lose stuff that you stored, but if you're not at home to defend the castle, unless you got an automatic home defense system, all that hard work, all those thousands and thousands of dollars of preparations could all be gone. Number 4, uncertain people. One common denominator, so to speak, of the issues that preppers are concerned about is dealing with unpredictable individuals. Because, of course, if there's not the threat of a policeman showing up in the next 5 minutes, the theory is that some people will maybe use that to their advantage. I don't think most people will, but I think definitely a percentage of people will, whatever it is, 5, 10, 20, 15. I think a lot of preppers think it's like 80 or 90% of people are just going to start robbing everyone when things get tough. Venezuela, actually, I'm going to come back to that in another video, but we're going to talk about Venezuela. Looting's becoming a lot more common in Venezuela. So anyways, lost preps. Number 4, uncertain people. Number 5, forced camps are never good. As a Californian, the internment of the Japanese citizens during World War II comes to mind. Basically locked up a bunch of Japanese people because they were Japanese, and because we were worried they were going to be spies or something. Maybe there was one spy or two or something out of, tens of thousands of people, maybe even hundreds that we locked up. In fact, I should know a little more precisely. Between 110,000 and 120,000. Okay. So anyways, history will tell us that being forced into a camp... Now, forced evacuation and being forced into a camp aren't the same thing, right? Like, FEMA might come and say, here's a bus to get you out of an area that's flooded. After that, you're on your own. Okay, that's not like forced camp, that's just forced evacuation. Interestingly, at least in California, I don't know about other states, but generally evacuations can't be forced from what we've seen, right? We've seen people staying in Katrina, staying in Harvey, staying in Maria, staying in forest fire situations. The law enforcement will go up and down the street and tell people what's going on, but I haven't really heard stories of people getting ripped out of their houses or anything like that. At least I haven't. But anyways, generally being forced into a camp's not a good thing. Number 6, food and water is going to be rationed. you're probably already on rations if things are getting so bad that FEMA's coming in. But you really you lose control over your intake of calories. Number 7, you are cattle. You only need to be kept alive. Okay, now does that mean they're going to put you in a big pen? Well, maybe, but the point is, your your emotional health and spiritual fulfillment are not really, on the FEMA camp director's top list of priorities. Their top list, theoretically, let's presume an altruistic nature of the FEMA camp. Their top priorities is to keep you alive, make sure you don't die. It's bad when the people you're trying to take care of die, if you are trying to take care of them. So I know that sounds like simple, like, oh, okay, well, at least I'll have food and water, but I don't know if you guys understand. It's great to be alive and all, but if you're just, it's like purgatory, right? Just if all you got was food and water and somewhere to sleep, and that was like all you did all day until God knows when, you would lose your mind. You would start to lose your mind, especially if you had no idea when they were going to release you. I mean, presumably the Japanese interned in California were at least getting news of the war, so I would have suspected that they expected to be released as the war came to a close, but you never know. Maybe they were worried about America turning on them even further and saying, well, because you were Japanese and because they attacked us, now you're X, you're not a citizen, you're a criminal, who knows what. Should read this. At any rate, number 8, forced labor. Are they going to make you do stuff? Not even necessarily terrible stuff, but any type of forced labor, if you're not getting reimbursed for it, probably not something you're going to want to be doing. Now, granted, you're going to be working hard and shit hits the fan anyway, so it's not like you're, at least presumably one would expect you'd be doing hard work. But that's not the point. The point is if the government or anyone else is forcing you to do work and you're not getting any gain from it other than, your survival, which theoretically, I don't know whether or not the government owes you your survival in that sense, but forced labor, probably not a good thing. Number 9, crowding. It's going to be really, really crowded. Now, that by itself, could be tolerated if it was a day, a week, maybe even a month, but you got to keep in mind, you're crowding people that aren't necessarily used to being that crowded. It's not just going to be a bunch of people used to living in, 20-story apartment complexes with like population densities of Brazil or something like that, or India or China, where you're talking about 1 billion people, or approaching high numbers of population. But it's going to cause people. Yeah, Brazil only has 200 million people, but I know some of their cities are super, super dense. Like I think Rio is. What's the Rio population? That's not the city. Maybe it's Argentina. Sao Paulo, yeah. I think Sao Paulo is the ridiculous big city with just so much downtown. I'm almost positive. Yeah. Sao Paulo has a section like in the middle, and some pictures make it look like more intense than others, but at any rate, yeah, there's going to be a lot of people, and they're going to be stressed out, and you're going to have to be living around them. And like I said, back to that emotional, spiritual fulfillment thing being lacking in the FEMA camp, you're going to have a lot of stressed out people who just can't handle it. Even though they're getting food, they're getting water, they're getting somewhere to sleep, they're just going to lose their mind. They're just not going to be having a good day, and they're going to be next to your family, your wife, your husband, your kids, your senior, your elderly family members. It's not going to be good. The crowding and the fact that you're going to have like middle class and upper class and lower class and all different types of people with different values even from America, because that we have a diverse country, but making them all live right next to each other, it's going to be a little bit tough. And number 10, of course, the biggest, the most sort of the only conspiratorial thing on my list is there an ulterior motive to the FEMA camp? And I don't mean necessarily the worst type of ulterior motive, but could potentially be even just a reorganization of your political beliefs, so to speak. Support the state at all costs, and whatever's going on. Is it martial law? Is it militarization? Was it a coup? Who knows, right? But whatever is going on, the camp could potentially, one potential negative purpose could be to sort of get to save all the citizens, and then as the savior, kind of get them all in line, right, for the new world order and all that. So there you have it. Top 10 reasons to just say no to the FEMA bus. Like, comment, subscribe, and let me know what you think.